Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to Squares of the Round Table. And here we are once again with another week's worth of hilarity, news, and whatever comes to our minds. And with me now are my jolly cohorts, Mr. Mike and Mr. Jeff. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Excellent.
All good.
Glad you can make it, Ivan. How have you been?
Busy. The season has me running around everywhere. People find the need to dance, to get out of their house, to dance away their anxieties and their woes of the workaday world. DJing on a Monday, quite a concept.
Did he just say workaday?
Yep.
Okay. Just checking.
Yep. Christmas parties, Halloween parties, that and, well, Mel's maybe. Like, if you're having a Halloween party now, you're probably doing fine, though.
I'm not against Halloween parties now. That'd be kind of amusing.
No.
You ought to come to my part of town.
Why is it a Halloween party every day?
It's every other day. The district is jumping, and it keeps growing by leaps and bounds. I just found out that I'm going to have a Target nearby me in a few months.
Oh.
The big box stores are popping up in Logan Square.
How do you feel about that?
It kind of takes away from the splendors of the small stores, and me being a small store supporter, well, I just hope it doesn't wipe off everybody else, on the face of the district that we call Logan Square. But I'm afraid that with time, all those small stores might be suffering under the weight of the expansion and gentrification that has become Logan Square. So I don't know if I embrace the whole situation heartily. Wait and see. We'll see what happens. But for right now, I like shopping in the small shops, and there's so many small shops in Logan Square. Great shop, great places. Clubs, and I was in one of those clubs on Monday. It was called Slippery Slope. And I did a wonderful set. It was the first time back at Slippery Slope in 3 years, and, well, it was real cool. We had free skee ball in the front, and we had lots of people doing the dance and the drink and the merriment, and Julie was with me, and some of my friends came around and bid me well and, hung around with us, and it was cool on Monday night. And it rendered a wonderful piece of currency, which is always very, very nice.
Yeah, any time of year.
Yeah, tell me about it. And
currency. We like currency.
Currency is good. And then from there...
That's it. We don't like Bitcoin.
And from there, Wednesday, I split a herring with my friend Dijon Holiday for the Superheroes of Soul and his.
You had fish?
Well, we split a shift, if you will, a little bit of linguistics there.
Yeah, he said herring. I thought fish too.
Yeah.
I thought there was like an old guy who'd be like, I need some fish. Oi.
I split the herring with this guy. Oi. This wasn't gefilte fish. It was a herring. He's trying to give me a red herring, he is.
Too much pork.
Not good.
What's wrong with the soup? Just taste the soup. What's wrong with the soup? Just taste the soup. Where's the soup? Aha!
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 What do you know from Funny, you stupid bastard?
I
haven't seen that movie in a while.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, I split a shift with Dijon Holiday for the Superheroes Soul. Shuffle Boyer is the sidekick, made an appearance, yours truly, dropping records alongside my buddy. And
when you say Dijon Holiday, all I can think of is Christmas mustard.
Dijon Holiday, yeah. Well, it's because his spelling is D-J-A-N, Dijon Holiday. He's a aspiring cartoonist. He does a strip. He's been published, and it's called Uncle Holiday and His Friends. It's really very good.
Where can you find it? Is it online?
He's got some pictures online, and he also sells comic books up in Wicker Park. So I might have to find out where, and maybe for the next show.
Yes.
At the start of the year, I'll see what I can post up.
Yeah, get his info. We'll plug it on our page because we're just generous like that.
Yeah,
we could do that.
And friendo Ivan is a friendo us.
Yeah, if we can't make money, at least somebody else can.
Yes.
And then let me see. So what else was in my?
Damn it! Now I'm hungry.
For gefilte fish?
No, because you said Dijon holiday, and all I can think about is a sandwich.
Oh, okay.
Like with a little mayo and maybe some onion and some. Well,
there we go. It's some other good.
Lettuce is bad. We found that out. Lettuce is bad in 2018.
Well, I had a really good dinner over at Cozy Cafe. I had the traditional turkey dinner with corn and mashed potatoes and gravy, and some chicken rice soup, which was really, really good this evening. So it was good. Yeah, Cozy Cafe. They're expanding too. They've just built another one on Harlem by Tui. I think that's like the fourth one they've got in the city. And everything they make is delicious. If you ever get an opportunity in and around the area, if you happen to be about, check out the Cozy Cafe. Highly recommended. It's very, very good food. And the people there, the service is amazing. It's like you order and like 5 minutes later, boom, there it is. You're like, wow. So it makes it really good.
That's the sequel to Whoop, there it is, right? Boom, there it is.
Right, boom, there it is. There you go. And let's see. And then I'm trying to think. Where was I Thursday? Thursday I was at Wax On, Wax Off. And then Friday was over at Matters. And then this past Sunday, yesterday, well, by the time this broadcast, it'll be a few days from now, but Sunday I did the Sweet Soulful Sunday, of which you got to see some of the clips. I bet that out of the 3 times I've had to fight Facebook in order to get the live feed, they only tagged one of them and deleted some of the sound from it, which I find ridiculous because what good is, you're going to go ahead and take down the music, and then you got 2 minutes of music and then 20 minutes of just me sitting there, me just playing there, moving my mouth and me moving around and dancing. You fill in the music yourself, So yeah, so I might be doing that less and less because.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Ivan, because I did, when I'm not doing this, I do a Facebook Live almost every day now. And it was funny because a couple weeks ago, when I went to go do my fantastic Facebook Friday fun, the hashtag 4F, it was the first time I had a situation where they kind of muted the music. I mean, you could hear it, but not really well on purpose. And it was interesting because the next week I did it and I didn't have a problem. And what was interesting was I started the show using Tom Jones' the unusual one, whatever the heck that is.
It's not unusual.
It's not unusual.
And it was funny because apparently that must be one that's very popular because that's what got me dinged. Using the wobble that I normally use doesn't bother them at all. So I kind of thought it was funny. It just seems like there's certain music or certain artists, I think, Ivan, that have kind of like complained to Facebook.
Well, it comes down to this: they have some kind of technology that they put on there, and it tags certain songs from certain companies, and then if it gets flagged, they'll put a red bar across your feed, and then what happens is that you got a choice of either A, deleting the video, or posting the video with it muted, and you're kind of hoping when you post it muted that they're not going to take all of the music away. Unfortunately, of the 3 times I was on Sunday, the first video of the 22 minutes of footage I had, 20 minutes of it was gone. So I deleted the first part of it. But the other two, and I think it was because I kind of got away from the top 10, 20, 40, or 100 records, that they left it alone. In fact, I ended up keeping the 24-minute piece that was on there, and that ended up being intact. And then the 2 hour and 38 minutes, which was the third and longest part of the broadcast, they left that one alone too, so I was rather happy about that.
Yeah, it's the algorithm that they use. If they can find, it finds the waveform of a popular song, they'll happen.
Mute it.
Well, and like I haven't said, it's certain artists, because I've noticed that, like I said, it happened to me on Tom Jones. So I wonder if it's older artists and certain record labels that are trying to make sure that they get their.
Well, my first broadcast, Warner Company tagged in on it and said that I was using some of their music. And I've had other companies, tag, especially Sony and Warner. They seem to be hyper vigilant about these things, and it's because now Sony and Warner and Elektra and some of the bigger labels now, and some of the smaller labels that have been swallowed up by the bigger labels now.
Yeah.
So they're just looking at their, I guess, intellectual property. I don't know if that's a proper word for it, but they're kind of keeping an eye out for whoever is underneath their umbrella, and so they're trying to tag it to make sure whatever regard. And then, of course, the latest legislation, which expanded the situation where something is in the public domain now. Now that's been kind of wiped away and now has been extended if anything is being made, after 1972. So, yeah, so, if I was to do an entire show of really unknown, obscure type of music, I could probably go ahead and be undisturbed. But if I include anything that charted or was of a major label interest, then that becomes a thing. So, but it's tough though, because when you try to put certain things out there, to go ahead and do an entire program of nothing but obscurities and such, a lot of people tend not to be as interested in it unless, of course, you are of that ilk to want to explore with me down those dark and dusky paths of, unknown music. But a lot of people, they don't always do that. I mean, I belong to several Facebook groups where, they tend to like the more obscure, the B-sides, the unknown, the uncharted, type of music, which they get to that. And
well, that's your secret weapon, Ivan. They just have to use the really deep cuts from now on.
Right.
If you're going to Facebook Live.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to kind of I'd have to stay off the established paths and just really go down deep. But then also, too, it just comes down to, all right, to go ahead and play Lichtensteiner Polka by the Wisconsin Moko Band, you're kind of like, what? It's like, okay.
Here's a song that won't get me flagged on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably the one guy who's like, whatever you do, make sure this song.
Right.
Yeah. I've paid my 3 cents royalty on this.
It's rough because I get it from the other side, which is you make something you want to get paid. I get it. At the same time, I do think it's kind of interesting because it's like, all right, like if I'm at a live event and I'm promoting things and I'm playing music, shouldn't if you're at somebody's wedding or something like that, you're just trying to put something out there, or I don't know.
Well, you would think that the companies would find this as a promotional device to get people interested in their music continuously. I mean, because if you're putting it out there and people are hearing it, I mean, you watch the vast amount of commercials, soundtracks, and motion pictures that it brought a lot of the old music back out into the popular vein.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a guy like me who brings these records of these songs. You would think that they'd be a little less harsh about it because, you know what? Yeah, I'm bringing it to a new audience, and the new audience is going to seek it out. And then, you know what? Even if they do it as a download for 99 cents, that's 99 cents more than they got.
Well, and it's funny you say that because that was one of the, like, look, you can go on YouTube and find just about any song you want. And I always kind of laugh about it because really in reality, you know, if anything, having those abilities to find a song to see if you like it, whether or not, I would assume that the odds go up that people will pay for the music. I can't imagine that people still aren't paying for downloads. If anything, it's easier now because it's like, oh, good, I don't have to buy a whole album. I can buy one song for 99 cents.
Right, exactly. So they're getting their money, but, you know, when you play something out, you would think that would promote it in order for them to find it, in order for them to make that money.
Well, it's rough because I get it, because it goes back to, like, when we were in the broadcast days and you used to have to write up all that stuff for ASCAP and those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you know, these stations pay for rights, so probably the radio stations are sitting there going, well, great, if anybody can just go on Facebook or internet radio and basically play it for nothing, that's not fair. And I get it. I don't have a great answer for it. I wish I did.
Oh, no, but I don't either. And it's just, you know, there should be a clear-cut boundary as to what you can do and what you can't do, because a lot of it is left to chance. And, you know, and you get this type of a situation. There's just so much red tape about it. There's really no clean-cut answer for any of it.
Well, it's funny because I think you guys are. I know Mike's probably seen this. I don't know about you, but I guess Tumblr is changing their policy about adult content.
Yeah, we spoke about this. I think it was either 2 weeks ago. I think.
Yeah.
And now the bans are in effect, and people, like, even just like pictures of girls in bikinis, not even any naughty bits are showing, and these pictures are getting flagged as adult, and they're taking, and so it's pissing off a lot of people.
Comic books have gotten tagged.
Yeah.
Kittens.
It's
silly.
It's the wide censorship effect.
Well, it's Tumblr's appeasing to Apple, which is what's caused this.
Well,
they don't want to lose Apple's app. They want the Tumblr app on the Apple App Store, and they're doing it for the sake of protecting the children from adult content. Well, guess what? It's the internet, so good luck with that.
Yeah,
hiding anything.
Exactly. You think that one site is going to make a world of difference when you can go to Pornhub and get your entire night's worth of dish again for nothing, or do you think?
Yeah, it's we get it. We can find it anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, find it anywhere.
The fact that this whole thing with Ivan getting tagged or you and also getting caught on Facebook, caught playing popular songs, such a terrible misdeed.
God, it's a horrible thing I'm doing.
You
trying to
horrible people, you.
What were you thinking?
I really missed you.
I miss being on the show too, man. You know what I mean? I don't like being late.
What are you eating?
What?
What are you eating?
Am I eating? I'm eating little wafers.
Little wafers. Got it.
All right.
Yeah, little wafers. They're little chocolate wafers. They're like the sugar wafers that you used to get with the little white cream in the middle. Yeah, these just have chocolate in them.
Okay. Enjoy. So, how was your week, Jeff?
It was interesting. It was a lot of holiday parties and, doing a little here and there. I did an escape room on, what was it? Was it Wednesday night? Yeah. I did an escape room for the first time. That was kind of different.
Was it like a Saw kind of thing where it's like...
No.
You have to cooperate in order to survive.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't that far fetched, but...
You want to play a game, Jeff?
Yeah, well, it was kind of
You were Jeff Saw. You weren't Jigsaw. You were Jeff Saw.
Like certain things, I became very obvious to me. It was like,
okay,
I like games, but I don't like games where I have to think. Okay? and like, there's this thing up there where there's like a number thing where you have to figure out numbers. So I'm like, oh, math. I don't want to do math.
I came to a party. I didn't come to the party to do math.
I came to have a good time. In fairness, my Dungeons and Dragons skills did come in handy on a.
Nice. There you go.
Nice.
Early on, there was one where they're trying to figure out how to get in, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Did you look at the book?" And they're like, "What book?" I'm like, "Give me that." And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "Oh, here." And I'm flipping through the days. I'm like, "It's like, oh, it's listed by days. Oh, look at this. Here's the code. Let's go." Or it was funny. I found the last one. I found the last one for us to get out, and
it's some form of Elvish.
Well, no, it was funny because they all thought it was on a certain piece, and I'm like, no, that can't be it. And it was funny because I'm looking at the briefcase and I'm looking everywhere, and I'm like, oh, I can't find any sort of secret thing. And you're allowed to ask for a clue, and the guy's like, did you check inside the thing a little better? And I'm like, I know. I'm like, as soon as he said it, I'm like, I know where it is. So I looked up, and it's like, oh, there it is. Nobody had caught that one. And it was funny because we were competing in two groups for the company, and it was based on a time thing, and we got through in like maybe 30 something minutes, and the other group didn't get out, but I think they got the harder room. So not that I care. I got winning money, so.
We're glad you escaped, Jeff.
Yes, I'm glad I escaped. It was so funny because it's like, we should work together as a team, and everybody like 5 sheets to the wind and started like tearing the place apart. I'm like, okay, I guess we're kind of working as a team, but we're just gonna go over it. But yeah, it's mostly holiday parties and hanging out and like I said, it's kind of a slow week, But yeah, how about you?
I had a lot to do this week.
Okay.
What did you do?
Oh, just been busy at work, and we're doing some renovations. Next month is going to be crazy. Starting tomorrow. The week before Christmas, we're starting these renovations tomorrow. It's not going to be pleasant. But
what was the big seller this year, Mike?
The big seller? I don't know. A lot of people, it's that gun that people think they could just aim it at their Christmas lights and hit the trigger like 30 times to instantly fix their lights. That's the one people want. Because they got their lights up and they don't want to change them out. So they want to buy this magical gun that they saw on television, and they think they could just aim it at the Christmas lights. It'll fix it.
Wait.
It's true.
Hold on,
that's ridiculous.
Wait, well, hold on. Now I gotta find this Christmas light.
You gotta find this thing.
It's you might be in that bag of wipers, Ivan. I'm gonna go check in there.
Yeah, I know.
No, for lights that have burned out, you take the light out of the socket, and then you put the thing in there, and you pull the trigger a bunch of times, and it's supposed to fix the bulb socket or something.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of like an internal socket crimp.
Yeah, it's like a light bulb repair
I got
thing.
pictures here. I got pictures now. Okay. This almost looks like a price gun.
Yeah.
Like a Kmart shoppers here. Let's change all the pricing around.
Yeah, that was a Saturday Night Live skit back in the day.
Yeah.
You could just go in the store and change your own prices. Mm-hmm. I saved so much money.
Yeah, you did, especially
so what's the number?
0.
What else were hot sellers at the hardware store this year?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see, we've sold some grills. Now, certainly not snowblowers. We had that one snow right after Thanksgiving, and that was it. So snowblowers are sitting here now. I don't know if we're getting any more in because we had that big snow down by the Carolinas, and that might have sucked up the market. And the factories only make them for so long, and the factories are making lawnmowers now because they got to obviously be ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But if we get another big snow, we might not be getting more snowblowers in. That's fine.
Oh, that's not good.
But grills, that's a popular thing. Grill covers, grill paraphernalia. A lot of people are doing more of the the fancy grills, not just your basic Webers, but ones like the Traegers that use the pellets instead to eliminate the ash. Like it's like a step up above propane. Not that I'm complaining about propane, but it uses these pellets instead, and the pellets just like disintegrate into almost nothing, so it creates very little waste. It's not like the charcoal grills that use all those briquettes that you're done with. You have all those ashes left over.
And remind me of that episode of King of the Hill where
oh yeah, that one. Yes.
Where Peggy was just like they end eating up those hamburgers and they find out that they were made by briquettes instead of propane, and I guess Hank was on a birthday vacation, and gets involved with all of the shenanigans with his friends.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's a staunch propane guy, and I just prefer it over charcoal just because it's just convenient not having to deal with the briquettes. Same kind of action time. But seasoning, you can get like the wood chips for the different, like either the smoky or the mesquite flavor. And then also certain kinds of seasoning and rubs now you can get around that, so you can't tell if it was cooked on a propane grill or a charcoal grill. You can't tell that no more.
But is it true? Does it really make a difference if you use propane against charcoal?
Some people. It's on some people. It's strictly principle, just like Hank.
Yeah, well.
But it's funny as you were talking about how artists are getting their due. When I heard the news that Nancy Wilson passed away, I went right to iTunes and I was going through her library and I downloaded a copy. She did a cover of the Christmas Waltz. Mm-hmm. So I downloaded that.
Can I admit that the picture of this gun and what it does is not nearly as impressive as what you talked about?
Yeah, it is quite kind of...
It's not even like a lot cooler before I went to go look at it.
It not even has like a laser gun kind of look to it. It just says.
I guess I just expected something where it was like automatic rapid fire, where it's like bum, 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 and it like fires out Christmas lights or something. But
whoa!
Put this over your socket, give it a twist, and you got a brand new light in your socket where the light goes.
And so Saturday, I caught the Fred Rogers documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that was exceptionally good. Great, really lots of great information about his life story. I don't think I'll ever have to see the Tom Hanks one now. I think I'm good for my fix of Fred Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, when I first saw it in the theater, I was so taken by the fact that he had so many layers, so much dimension to him, and I had no idea about all of his contributions to educational television. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. It was good. And then Sunday, I rolled the dice. I'm like, I don't know if I want to see the Bears-Packers game, so. I thought were we favored to win, Jeff?
I can't remember.
But anyway, so I was like, I'm not going to sit. So I went and saw Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
Yeah.
And?
I thought it was very cool. Okay. I liked the visuals because the animation style was very different. Maybe just because of the effect of having to bring in all these spider people from all these different universes, it's causing this glitching effect. Sort of like how Vanellope was glitching in her game, kind of. Yeah. But the animation style was really good. That was what most visually capturing of it. It looked good visually, and that's great. Well, for animation, it has to be important, I guess. It's a big part of it. But it had a good story. It was a cool way to integrate in all these other spider people. So I liked it. I liked the twist, not in the towards the middle actually. And then there was a female Dr. Octopus.
Okay.
I don't know if it was Liv, I think was her name. Chris Pine was the voice of one of the Peter Parkers. I think there were two Peter Parkers because one was, like I said, from another universe. Mm-hmm. But I think I'll include some minor spoilers here, so if you want to just fast forward like 5 minutes ahead, if you want to avoid spoilers for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, go ahead, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 now. Kingpin opens this portal to get his wife and son back, who he blames Spider-Man for their deaths. So he opens the portal, and he were trying to find like a DNA match for his wife and son. And these spider people come out instead. And of course, Spider-Man's trying to stop the machine from happening. And it causes these other events to occur where the radioactive spider finds its way to Miles, and then he gets bit, and then that's where he runs into these other spider people whose spider senses kind of draw them to each other. Mm-hmm. Like they have the spider sense like at the same time, and they both look at each other saying, "You're like me." It was cool in that sense, and I liked the twist in the middle with one of the bad guys and Miles. I won't say. Even in the spoiler section, I won't do it. So anyway, it was really good. I liked it a lot. I say, of the 4 animated films I've seen this year, I think this is the best one. Between The Grinch, Incredibles 2, and Ralph Breaks the Internet, I think the Spider-Man one was really good. Nice heart to it, too. It was a good story.
Which one came in second, then?
The Grinch, and then Incredibles 2, and then Ralph Breaks the Internet. Yeah, me and Jeff were kind of bashing it last week. I was listening to it back last week's episode. Jeff and I were kind of trashing that film. And it wasn't as bad as we say it was. Yeah. It was just lowered. We had high expectations because the first one was so good.
Yeah.
I see.
So, yeah, I think I'll see Spiderverse on $5 Tuesday. Yeah. It's funny, I had no plans to see that movie, and everybody I talked to either raves, and the reviews have been incredible, and I guess it did almost $40 million over the weekend. So, yeah, I guess I plan to go see it, because I have friends of mine who are like, dude, you're a Spider-Man guy, you should see this movie.
Yeah, anyone who likes Spider-Man would like this film. And me and Ivan, growing up on the 67, there were a couple of nods to the 67 cartoon. Oh, okay. And, of course, the Stan Lee cameo was very poignant now that he's passed, you know.
But, yeah, I think I will probably see it, especially because it features one of my favorite Spider-Man characters, which is Peter Porker, the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, in a ways, I think Peter Porker was he didn't have much to do in it, but it did help lower the there were some bad things happening. It did help to raise the stakes, lower it. To make it funny for the, not just to say make it a cartoon for the kids.
Kind of lighten up the mood a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
There's one scene I saw that's on trailers or in commercials where they're all hiding from the Spider-Man's friend Ned. They're all hiding from Spider-Man's friend, and he looks up and he sees all of them. And Spider-Ham goes, "I forget. Do animals talk in this universe?"
Yeah, do animals talk in his universe? Because I don't want to freak him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I think it was Miles' roommate.
Yeah.
At I think it's like a boarding school, or was like a dorm, like maybe during college or something like that, where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. But it was good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I recommend, 4 out of 5 EMNs.
All right.
It's interesting because I think, it's funny, we were talking a little bit about, all right, how do you do, because there's I don't know if you've heard, the Venom movie got greenlit for a sequel already.
Yeah, I've been threatened by my sister that I'm going to have to watch that.
But,
what's that?
Oh, the Venom movie? Yeah, I Eat Your Head. Yeah, it's funny because that would be the solution to how you could do Spider-Man and still allow Marvel to do Spider-Man.
Yeah. And now, they left it wide open for a sequel. So now, the fact that this machine has been destroyed, but there is a Spider-Man that takes place in the future, if anyone knows, and there'll be they did totally hint a second one, and the dynamic between Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen was quite charming. It was a good story.
Yeah, like I said, I've heard good things.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see now that you have had a Spider-Man movie where the feature character is not Peter Parker, it's Miles Morales, where if that's the answer for a live action where, yeah, okay, maybe Marvel gets one and maybe Sony gets to play with the other. I think it would be interesting. But, I'm in fairness, Sony did that MTV Spider-Man cartoon a while back, and that was a pretty good, the animation on that wasn't bad for the time, but it was very short-lived and there were a few other issues. But
there are a lot of short-lived Spider-Man cartoons over the last few years.
I feel like they have kind of a clue on how to do that, so I'm not too shocked by it. But yeah, and then I guess just as long as we're talking about this for 2 seconds, my understanding is the Mule, which is Clint Eastwood, it did a little over 17 million this week. So honestly, that looks really interesting too. Like I said, there's some, by the time the show airs, we'll be into the time frames of, I guess Marwan will be out, Mary Poppins will be out, Aquaman will be out, Bumblebee will be out. Really, in reality, it's going to be an interesting. There's a lot of possibilities during the holiday week. So, and
no one heard about Mortal Engines until we heard the news that it's bound to lose $100 million at the box office.
Yeah, wow, that's.
And they were really plugging that. All those promos I saw, like TV commercials for it, saying, "From the maker of The Lord of the Rings comes this story that is nothing like The Lord of the Rings."
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like The Lord of the Rings.
So, we all changed channel. We didn't finish watching the commercial.
Well, the other thing, too, is, Peter Jackson, it's not that Peter Jackson still isn't a great director or producer, but his apex was the 3 Lord of the Rings movies. It isn't, the 3 Hobbit movies haven't done nearly what the 3 Lord of the Rings movies have done. So, I feel like, if anything, it's kind of like, okay, he needs to kind of reinvent himself. And in fairness, he will. He's good that way.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. I'm sure he's still probably living off of his Hobbit money, so,
Well, I mean, didn't he do the Lord of the Rings films one right after the other?
Yeah.
So that's what he kept the fluidity and constitution of all the films, whereas you know how sometimes you get a movie and then a sequel, but then it's not as seamless.
Yeah, the thing is,
I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is that the pendulum swung the other way with The Hobbit. With The Lord of the Rings, he got away with doing how he wanted to do it. There were 3 when he went to the studio execs, and one of them said, "There's 3 books, make 3 movies." So they let him do it. And that paved the way for so many other sci-fi adventure fantasy books that have been followed in that sense. Some have been successful, some not as much. But when he got the chance to do The Hobbit, initially he just wanted to split it up into 2 movies. But he said, "No, you did a trilogy before, we'll do a trilogy again," the studio says. And they threw Peter Jackson a crap ton of money, and he said, "Okay, I'll do it this way." And it didn't work as well as the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Well,
it's because you're sitting there trying to milk something that didn't need to be milked over 3 movies. It could have done well at 2, and then that would have been good. But when you try to stretch out an enterprise like Mike Meyer tends to do, it doesn't always work as well.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't know, after the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, and I'll admit I'm not a Lord of the Rings person, but after the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, I was like, I'm not in the mood for a Hobbit movie. And I remember the Hobbit, the cartoon as a kid, and it was okay, but I wasn't thrilled. I mean, I don't think it grasped the imagination kind of like the Lord of the Rings movies did. So I do think that it's kind of like, and maybe I'm the wrong person to say this, it's kind of like how with Harry Potter, they went into the prequels now, and I have no interest in the prequels, really, in reality.
Well, I mean, does that kind of fall under the whole same umbrella as, say, what they did with Star Wars? I mean, they had the 3 or 4 initial movies, and then all of a sudden they want to start doing prequels and then post stories.
Well, but here's the difference with that. The difference is, Ivan, is they did the original first 3 movies, and then there was not another Star Wars movie for 20 years. So really in reality, there was an appetite for any sort of Star Wars movie. So yeah, those prequels did really, really well. Well, the reason those prequels did really, really well was because you had people who were starving for a product that hadn't existed. And so I think that has an advantage versus, okay, we had 6 Harry Potter movies already, and now you're going to go to prequels. Or we had 3 Lord of the Rings movies, and immediately you went right into a Hobbit movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm
again. It just goes right after. How far do you stretch something out till it doesn't have the staying power?
Well, and it's funny you say that because I was just thinking from a perspective, and I'm curious Mike's take on this, but with Marvel, here's one of the advantages that Marvel has, which is Marvel isn't really one character of movie. Marvel has multiple characters of movies, and really in reality, these Avengers movies, it took them 3 years to get from the first Avengers to the second one. It took them another 3 or 4 years to get to Avengers 3. So it's not like there was like they were right on top of the other. Yes, you still had all these Marvel movies in between, but it wasn't like they were all the same Marvel movie. You have Doctor Strange, you have Spider-Man, you have this, you have that. So there's some differentiation in what you're seeing. Same with like the DC stuff, which, by the way, apparently Aquaman is just killing it overseas.
Yeah, it's already made. It's going to make $250 million before it's shown in the States.
Right. Before this week, when it's going to get shown in the United States, it's already at $300 million. And my understanding is it is absolutely destroying everything in China. So, it's already like one of the top movies all time of China. So.
Okay, now riddle me this. Okay, let me make sure I got this correct. So they're showing it around the world first before they bring it to America? Is that my understanding? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, there have been releases in Australia and out in the Orient.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think that they're trying to test the market for Aquaman because there hasn't been much Aquaman done?
As of today, this movie has grossed $266 million already.
I heard more than that. I thought it was okay. All right.
So I thought it was not by no means a failure already.
Right. Well, to answer your question,
against the world standard, but do you think that it'll fare as well once it gets here? That's my question.
It's tracking huge, from what I understand. I don't remember what the numbers look like.
So is B.
Yeah. No, I'm fascinated to see
how the pie is going to get divvied up next year.
That's what I'm fascinated by, because there's a lot of product out right now. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it's great because...
Oh, it's great,
exactly.
But just doesn't become a big feeding frenzy.
Well, it already is going to be Ivan, it's going to be a feeding frenzy. But it's interesting because I'm curious to see what these numbers look like, because you've got people where you've got at least 3 movies off the top of my head that are movies that people are going to sit there and look at. And I think the numbers could be really, really, really amazing, because you've got Mary Poppins Returns, which every family is practically going to that movie. You've got Aquaman, which is incredibly hot right now. Like Mike said, you have the Bumblebee movie, which has gotten good response, and it'll be there. That Marwan movie we talked about, and then the irony is that this Spiderverse movie making 30 to 40 million the first week with solid buzz, I'm sure there'll be people whose reaction is, you know what, if I don't have to try to climb over everyone in creation to get into these other ones, I can go see that, or I can see The Mule, or Green Book is still out, and that's what I mean. I mean, there's really
good
content right now.
This winter.
Yeah. It's the first time that I can remember where the Christmas holiday season, there's a lot of content, and I'm curious to, and in fairness, I think it's going to be a phenomenal holiday weekend, and the next couple weeks are going to be good for movies. And my only fear is that enough of the pie gets divvied up where some of these movies that deserve to get to not be in trouble don't end up in trouble. And
I think the Mortal Engines was a clear example of this. I mean, maybe 2 months ago it had done very well at the box office.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny you say that because...
It's a matter of timing.
It's funny you say that because really September and October people were looking for movies. I mean, I think that's part of why Venom did well, is it was at a right time of year.
Right, just like how It was such a big hit 2 years ago.
Right. Well, and we've
last year.
We've talked about this before, where there are certain times a year where people are going to be looking for movies and can't find anything that they really want to see. Like, for example, once we get past the first of the year, now in fairness, this year could be an exception because some of the Oscar possibilities this year may be a little bit more mainstream, but we'll see because we haven't seen what the Oscar nominations look like. But that's a possibility, so therefore, you might see some of these stick around a little bit more. But this is why Black Panther was huge, was because people by sometime in February were looking for something. Ditto late summer. Late summer, there's somebody always looking for a movie. That's the reason why Guardians did well. It's the reason why Suicide Squad did well. Is because that late summer slot is another one of those slots where people are like,
yeah, I think Bohemian Rhapsody was in that pocket.
Yeah, I think that helped them too. Absolutely. I think they saw what they saw. They said, what? If we go earlier, we're better off. Absolutely. Yeah.
All about timing.
But Ivan, to answer your question about testing it there first, some of it has to do with release dates in other countries. Like, for example, and I can't speak to Australia, but I can speak to China. Not every movie gets released. Not every American movie gets released in China.
Oh, okay.
Not every American movie gets released in China. Keep in mind it's a communist country, so they limit what gets released, and they kind of tell you when you're going to get released too. So, if they tell you, now in fairness, obviously if the movie's not done, you can't do anything about it, but you get the idea. So,
I get it. Okay,
so,
I understand now.
So yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a politically situated thing, where that because it's like that. I didn't think about that.
Like China got Venom. I want to say at least a month after we did.
Okay.
Yeah. So dates are weird, and sometimes it's a matter of can they clear to get into the China market. That's a thing now because they only have 1 billion people and they only want you to they want to reach you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that clears a lot of things up for me. Okay.
So if you had to place them in order, Mike, what are you seeing in what order?
B. That's top of the list. I bought my ticket about a month and a half ago. A bunch of my buds are going, and hopefully, I don't know if that's Sunday before Christmas Eve, the 23rd. I don't know. Maybe if it's playing at my local theater, I might go see Aquaman, but that'd be next on my list. I don't know if I want to see Spiderverse again, but I did like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wish I could see more movies in the holiday, but it's just that, it's difficult for me because, this is the time where everybody's booking for parties and things, so I'm probably not going to get to the theater for a little bit. So
well, that's okay. This stuff is going to be...
Not to leave it on you guys, but, So I'm hoping by January, though, I'm saying, I might be able to...
What are you're spinning records every night until New Year's, or what?
Well, this week alone, I mean, besides being at the Jungle on Tuesday, I'm doing Out of the Satchel on Wednesday. I'm doing Cafe Mustache on Thursday. I'm doing Mathers on Friday.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so it's...
and then Saturday and Sunday.
And then, the Saturday and the Sunday's coming up. I mean, there's, personal days. I mean, spending, Christmas with family, Christmas with Julie and Soraya, and what have you. And then, New Year's, I'm already booked for, Cafe Mustache. I'm going to be doing New Year's over there this year. So yeah, but I know that after January, it'll be a wide open situation, and I got the theater right down the street. I'll start logging in time and be able to jump into the conversation in the January editions of
lots of holiday parties.
Yeah, well, and just so people are aware, this is our last show for 2018. Our next show will be probably the first full week of January. So yeah, we're definitely. We'll have a lot to talk about.
About 3 weeks would probably be about the 9th. You can see our next podcast.
The day after Elvis Presley's birthday.
No, that's the 8th, Ivan.
It'll be
the day after. I said the day after.
Okay, I didn't catch
It'll be the 7th, Mike.
We're recording on the 7th.
Right, we're recording on the 7th. Sorry, my bad.
So you'll get to see what you hear. You'll see the name, and then you'll be hearing it through your listening thing.
Yes, the listening thing.
The listening thing that we appreciate you downloading onto.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'll go first in this regard. I had a really good year. It was better than last year, that's for sure. But I had a really good year. I had lots of fun times. I had, let's see, let's start with, first of all, best movie of 2018, my probably most favorite of 2018 would probably have to be Infinity War. Jeff, favorite movie of 2018?
Yeah, it's hard not to go with Infinity War.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to go against that.
Yeah.
It might not be my favorite. That was a pinnacle movie for this year. I would have to agree too.
It's not my favorite Marvel movie, but it's probably my favorite movie of the year.
Well, it's rough because
there were so many good things this year.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This year's been crazy because it's like Graham said, "Oh, Black Panther." I totally get that. If somebody sat there and said they said Black Panther, I could see that. But I mean, this year's had a lot of amazing movies. It's funny. I just watched for I think for the 4th time already. I just watched Ready Player One.
I need to see that.
We have so much fun watching that movie. HBO has it now at the moment, so
I need to see that.
It's good. I enjoy it. I really do. I probably am overhyping it at this point. So but I did. I did.
Okay.
I like all the quirkiness to it. If anything, I keep laughing. I'm like, if I find somebody who it's like I'd kill for a Ready Player One role playing game.
Right. Least favorite movie of 2018.
Oh God. Ugh.
One movie you saw this year is like,
I'm trying to think of things that I rented just to be safe, because I'm pretty sure it was something I rented that. Me and my mom trying to find something to watch together is usually where I find pain. Because she and I don't necessarily like a lot of the same things. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
Okay. You're not Venom, I presume.
Oh yeah, Venom. Well, I mean, I feel like I saw it worse at some point this year, but Venom definitely is on that list of.
Well, let's see. What movie did I see that I didn't care for?
I know it's been a long year of movies.
I mean, there were just so many good movies that that it's kind of hard to actually pick a bad movie. Let's see. Can we get a list from somebody? Can we get somebody get a list?
Yeah, I'm like looking to see what kind of stuff I have. Like, cause I usually I'll tag what I'm watching on Facebook so I can look and see what
see what you've seen.
See what I've seen and see like, okay, did I like that or was there something that I'm like, ugh. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much from this year. Anything off the top for you, Mike?
I'd say probably Ralph 2, the Wreck-It Ralph 2. The Incredibles 2, I don't know what it was. Like, when I got out of the theater enjoying it more, but as the months have gone by, it just seems like the staying power in my head just kind of faded. It's like, not that Incredibles 2 is a bad movie, but I don't see any. I didn't catch any memorable moments from it.
It wasn't as memorable as the first.
Yeah, the first one was exciting in that regard.
Well, it's also true. I think they waited too long to come up with a number 2.
And the anticipation was so high, just like with Toy Story. Like, Toy Story 4, I'm sure will be a very good film. I'm hoping, because the first 3 have, I think, in my opinion, the only series of movies where every movie has gotten better.
Right, and it's consistently good.
And after waiting this many years for a sequel to The Incredibles, which arguably is one of the best Pixar movies, and to get what we got, I just wasn't was fulfilled. But I did catch a little bit of the. Speaking of unfulfilled, I caught a little bit of the last 2 episodes of this season of South Park, and it deals with Amazon, where Amazon wants to build a fulfillment center in South Park, and it pretty much puts all the other stores out of business, and everyone winds up working for Amazon. It was good. And there was this bike marathon that all the kids wanted to compete in. And Jeff Bezos was like, I don't know if you ever saw Star Trek, the original Star Trek, where the guys from Talos 4, those big-brained aliens that speak telepathically.
I remember them.
Yeah. That's how they portrayed Jeff Bezos. Big-brained, butt kind of head looking like your stereotypical big-brained alien. So anyway, best TV shows of 2018.
New or stuff that we...
This year. New content for 2018 that you really enjoyed in television.
New content for this year. All American on CW. I've really kind of enjoyed that show. It's kind of got a little bit of a 90210 feel, but it's a little more edgy, and I like it. I think it's really, really good. I've enjoyed.
Is that the one with Green Lantern and Supergirl?
No, you're thinking.
No, that's Green Lantern is not on the CW.
You're thinking Green Arrow, but
Arrow,
I mean Green Arrow. That's what I meant. Sorry.
No, it's the same network, but it's not that show. No, it's about a kid who is an All-American, who's like this amazing, talented football player, and gets picked up by a high school in Beverly Hills to play football. And he lives in Beverly Hills on the weekdays, but he's in Crenshaw on the weekends, and it's an interesting show. It has kind of that 90210-esque feel to it, but it's far more urban.
Yeah,
it's far more diverse.
Right.
So like I said, I've enjoyed it. I don't know about you guys. I have other thoughts on that, but I'll let you guys go first.
Cobra Kai. Awesome. I enjoyed it. It was part teen drama, part 80s nostalgia. It was right up my alley. And Krypton was good.
Yes, I forgot about Krypton.
Yeah. Next year we'll get another season. And I'm trying to get together with my friend, and I've been holding out, wanted to see more episodes of Titans, hoping to see if it gets a little better. But I haven't caught any new episodes yet, so we just haven't been able to. This difficult time of year where people's schedules are crazy. So hopefully by the time we have our next podcast in 3 weeks, we'll have I'll be able to see a little more of that. So, but anyway, yeah, I liked Cobra Kai and I liked Krypton.
Okay.
I think Krypton has a lot of promise for season 2. They left it on a great cliffhanger. So, and we're getting a season 2 of Cobra Kai, so I'm very happy about that. I don't know, Ivan, if you don't catch much television, but is there anything in general that you've caught that you enjoy?
Okay, off the free television channels. I've been watching a lot of Heroes and Icons. I I watch all the Star Treks from the first to
all the Star Treks.
All the Star
trekking
Treks.
all over the place.
So yeah, so I've been trekking on Heroes and Icons. I've been
Which ones?
Oh my gosh! Well, all of them. They have it where they show one right after the other. The 67, the next one, the Next Generation, all of them. Enterprise. They do all of them on Heroes and Icons. So I've been kind of like catching up a little bit on some of the old shows. And then there's Decades where I catch up on all the older shows. What they got a program called Lost Episodes, like after 11 o'clock, and they show all of the television shows that have been lost to time, and that's been very entertaining. Plus getting my fill of vintage Honeymooners episodes, which they're showing all of the lost Honeymooner episodes now.
Yeah, there was like the one season that was later on where they were on heavy rotation, like on like Channel 32, one of the old UHF stations that's famous here in Chicago, that we'd enjoyed. But yeah, I remember when the lost episodes were found and they started getting broadcast.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing now on the Decades channel. The Decades channel is really good if you have free television because they show a lot of the older programming, and they have a show called Through the Decades where they'll take the day that you're living in and they'll tell you what happened on that day, in politics or in sports or in whatever. And they kind of fill you in on what happened on that day. A lot of great footage. The Ed Sullivan Show, they show you the complete and uncut Ed Sullivan Show. So I get to see all of my favorite music acts and mixed in with all of the traditional quiche type acts that they had there, the plate spinners and, Peppa Gigio,
Topo Gigio, right?
Topo Gigio, the Muppets, when they were just starting out, which was really good, and, it just makes for good entertainment, and.
Oh, that's right, Ivan. Didn't you see the Happy Time Murders?
Yes, I Time Murders.
Okay.
And
would you say that was your least favorite movie of the year?
Let's just say that if you're not ready to have your childhood destroyed and everything you've ever envisioned about puppets, not the show for the kids and not the show for the weak of heart. It's filthy, and I'm sure Jim Henson is spinning in his grave.
Yeah.
Probably say, why did my son just deep sick everything I worked for almost 30 plus years?
Yeah.
And the fact that Melissa McCarthy was in this movie, yeah. I mean, okay, half of me caters to its raunchy sense of humor because I'm mischievous like that. But as far as like regular type of like content where I have to be the critic and everything, not the movie you want to see.
Yeah, just like I don't know. I'll share this video every Christmas time every year, but it's not my favorite either as far as Christmas specials. But there's a gag reel or outtakes from Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas where they're trying to get a shot where Emmett Otter and his mother are standing in front of a storefront, and this drum has to roll past them.
Yes, roll out past them.
Yes,
yeah,
I love watching that every Christmas. I think I enjoy it more than I do with the special. But it's
the special is making the rounds this year. Phantom Events is actually hooking that one up, and one other. It's kind of a double feature thing you're doing for the holiday.
Yeah, but I love watching that where you imagine what they do when they're doing these outtakes. Like they made a joke about. It's like, I'm just the puppet lies. I think Frank Oz was the voice. I mean, they dubbed over Emmett's mother as another actress, I think it was. But Frank Oz was doing the puppeteering for Emmett's mom while they were shooting that scene. And he just kind of lies the character down, the puppet down on the pavement. He said, "I'm just going to lie here on the pavement, son." And Emmett Otter just, "Fair change. My mom needs a bottle of Ripple." See, that's funny. You can't just have 90 minutes of just sex jokes with these puppets. It doesn't work.
Yeah. No, see, certain things should not enter in those realms. Okay, I mean, like, it worked for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, okay, and then it wasn't overtly sexual.
No.
Okay, it wasn't just
one character. But.
Well, yeah, and even the one character for most of it, you know, it was just like that kind of teetering, you know, it's kind of like the dirty joke amongst your friends, you know, or your family members, but as far as like, just, you know, put Roger Rabbit against, Happy Time Murders, I'll take, Roger Rabbit over every time because it's just, it works. It works that way.
Right.
Just like, okay, you really want to go into that realm like, you know, Fritz the Cat or Heavy Traffic or, you know, all those type of movies where you have those adult style type of themes. Certain things you have to take on board when you're going to do something like that. And then how much of it do you keep in the mystique, and then how much of it you can blatantly put out there? Basically, the whole Happy Time Murders was a balls out. Let's see how many people's minds we can blow, but instead it just blew chunks instead. So it's just like, yeah, it's a kind of movie that you can probably grab a whole bunch of really, you know, deviant people, and it makes for yuck, 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 but, you know, not for the mass. You know, definitely not for the mass populace, and of course the fact that you know, Henson's son actually, you know, got into that. It just, you know, kind of dulled his credibility as far as I'm concerned.
A couple other things, just a thought back to TV real fast.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. A couple other shows just for people to look at in terms of stuff you can pick up for free. I know Manifest was popular this year. I thought it was okay. It wasn't great. That's NBC. That's the one where the plane apparently shows up 5 years later, and it's interesting. I don't know. If I'm going to go there, I would tell you that CBS's God Friended Me is a better show and a little bit more fun. It's a quirkier, more interesting version of, you know, the Highway to Heavens, that kind of thing. Far less preachy. And then, if you've got pay stuff, probably one of the darkest shows I've ever seen, but hard to take your eyes off of it. HBO's Succession, in which I swear there's practically nobody on this show that you practically find likable. And it's the story of the Roy family, who are these media conglomerate owners, and the old man has like a heart attack, but in the end decides he's going to come back, and just it's dark yet funny for all the wrong reasons. Sometimes you don't really feel like you should laugh, but it's really, really well done, and there's some really, really strong performances. Kieran Culkin, who is Macaulay Culkin's brother's in there. Alan Ruck, Brian Cox would be probably the most well-known names. But that show is, I mean, it's just dark. And sometimes you're just sitting there going, who am I supposed to root for again? Oh, wait, none of them. That's right. Yeah, so it's kind of a crazy show.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a black comedy of sorts.
Yeah, and to your comment about certain things being nicety, there's nothing really. There's all kinds of weird stuff in Succession, and I definitely would not recommend it for kids.
Okay.
In terms of content and stuff, but yeah, it's a very, very dark, very adult television show. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean about sex, although there is some of that, but it's just, you know, talking about, you know, families with that kind of power and the struggle within and all that kind of stuff.
It almost sounds a little like Arrested Development. Remember that series from Ron Howard?
Yeah, there's a lot darker. With a lot less likable people.
Okay.
But yeah. Hey, I did have a question for you, Ivan. I was curious. I don't know if you caught the 2019 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class.
Yeah, what about it?
I was just curious your thoughts on some of the people who got
Inducted? Well,
I can name some if you'd like me to.
Name some of them for me.
Okay, so this year, coming up in this apparently in the spring, the people / groups being inducted: The Cure, Def Leppard, Stevie Nicks, Radiohead, Roxy Music, The Zombies, and Janet Jackson.
Now, Fleetwood Mac is already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so Stevie Nicks could be going in on her own.
Okay, and once again, missing the mark on so much of it.
Well, but keep in mind, there's a lot of them that might be in already. I don't know who was up on the ballot and who wasn't.
Well, you ready? I don't know if I mentioned my quest to getting Link Ray into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, I've been making a big hoo-ha with Beth Ray Webb, who is Link Ray's daughter, who's been trying to get her father in to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and of course passed over again, just like so many other bands have been passed over, and now I realize they're being passed over again. All right, The Cure, I'm not saying that these bands aren't deserving, but I think there are a lot of other bands that have put just as much time in, if not more time in, and have had more hit content and have had more situations than, who's being inducted. It's almost become like the Grammys, where it just seems like the people who are working at that are not quite as in touch with what they're supposed to be putting in there or awarding, so But I know today it goes by the technology and the numbers and all of that. Okay.
Well, I don't know if I would go off of numbers when you're talking about The Cure. I mean, The Cure was one of the early. I mean, The Cure was alternative before there was an alternative.
Which, okay, I will give you that. And I would definitely. I would definitely give you props for that. I mean, much in the lines like Depeche Mode or like Morrissey, right. Or like. But
in fairness, if you sat there and said to me, The Cure, Depeche Mode, I would give it to The Cure before Depeche Mode any day of the week.
Well, yes, we'll see. Well, then but you see where I'm coming from, though. So it's just a matter of, well, I mean, do I rely on this sensibility for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I mean, they're coming to our town and they're going to try to put up a blues museum, in our town. Mm-hmm. So, we got people in Cleveland trying to tell Chicagoans what to do with their blues music. It just kind of annoys me to a point. Too.
Wow, yeah, but I guess I was looking from a perspective of the artists that got.
Okay, well, all right. Well, as far as the artists, okay, give it to Janet Jackson. Yes, give it to Janet Jackson.
If anything, overdue.
What? Who?
Overdue for Janet Jackson.
Well, yeah, I will give it to Janet Jackson. She deserves it. She's overdue. She's done a lot of great things. She's put out a lot of great music.
Oh yeah.
As far as Stevie Nicks, I can give it to Stevie Nicks. He also put out a lot of great music. Okay.
I point out the thing with Mike, which is it's interesting because now you got a scenario where it's okay. Stevie Nicks gets in for Fleetwood Mac, and Stevie Nicks gets in for being Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
Well, but there are a lot of cases like that in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame where it's just like the Monkees, and then you got Michael Nesmith, for the first national band. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you've got two, like Stevie Nicks had a long solo career, and some good music that came out of it.
That's right, it did. In fact, Stevie Nicks, before she even got involved with Fleetwood Mac. She had a career with a guy with Lindsey Buckingham, and that resulted in the album Buckingham Nicks.
Oh yeah, didn't he just recently? There was an article about Lindsey just recently about how he got ousted or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was recent news. I remember.
Right. So see, so there's my, so there's the thing that happens a lot with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, whereas they go, on the individualistic as well as the band situation, and I just think that there, more artists, even if they didn't have as much output, but was instrumental or incidental to the music situation, like say Link Wray. Yeah, Link Wray, he recorded from 1958. I mean, all the way up into the 1980s when he worked with Robert Gordon. So he was always a working musician, although everybody bases his success on the one song, Rumble. But then, of course, he's also the father of the power chord, which most of his techniques have been followed by other guitarists in his wake. So that to me, spells out having put something out there that everybody else got to pick up on. It's just like when you think about, okay, this is off the beaten path for a few seconds. It's just like when you think of Art Tatum and how Art Tatum could not work within the confines of a band because he was that solo piano artist, but yet how many piano players in his wake were influenced by the pianistics, if that's such a word, of Art Tatum. See, this is what I mean. Another gibonic word, but that's so I figured that those people who have done things to be just as deserving of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the bigger guys, I think there should be a section for those who, if they did something iconic or they did something that was picked up by so many people, all right, okay, Les Paul, Chet Atkins.
I thought Les Paul was in.
I'm not sure.
I'd have to pick that one up, Ivan.
Elucidate me, but yeah, because if he's not in there, then then that even makes it more of a problem because Les Paul, okay, he didn't invent the electric guitar, but he made the electric guitar an instrument to be reckoned with, and the technology for which it was made, overdubbing and everything else, multi-tracking and everything else that he did with all of his records. Which, by the way, last night I was listening to Texas Lady by Les Paul and Mary Ford, and it was the first time I ever heard Mary Ford not triple-tracked. She actually sang alone with a very, very sparse guitar accompaniment by, Les Paul, which I found that amazing.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say Les Paul's probably already in there.
I think he is. I just, might be missing that, but
you're right, Ivan. It's not just about the people who've influenced the music of this generation. It's usually just this generation that's being, or the one prior.
Right, exactly. So that's why that's my problem with it. Because
Ivan's voiced his opinions to me about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before, but you've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, I've been there, and it gives you a feeling of it's shiny, and it's just like you look around and in its interior, and it's got its quirky and eclectic interior, mixed in with all of its displays and such. When I went there in, I think it was 2000, that's when they had the John Lennon exhibit. I don't think I wanted to see John Lennon's glasses from when he got shot in front of the Dakota. I didn't want to see the pieces of Otis Redding's airplane that he went down in. So, but I did like the radio room where you walked in and it was an interactive exhibit where if you pushed a button down, a light in the location on the map in front of you lit up, and you heard the voice of the great disc jockeys of the past. Like if you pushed one down, you heard Martin Block in New York, or you pushed down another button, you heard Huggy Boy from California, or John R. from Louisiana, or Wolfman Jack from
Well, we're all a little biased in that regard as to what our favorite exhibit was, but.
Yeah, well, that's, no, but I'm going to be fair about this, though. I mean, just like when I walked across from that exhibit to see all of Sam Phillips's recording equipment, in fact, the whole room was recreated for the Sun Studio, this exhibit. It was really, really cool because I actually got to see the actual tape player, the actual cutting machine, and I got to see all of the reels of tape with all those artists' names on it, meticulously labeled and cared for. And if there's something I had to say about Sam Phillips, he was a very he might have been outspoken and quirky, but very meticulous when it came to the preservation of his materials. I mean, it was really something. Okay, and then when I went downstairs to the wardrobe room, and you got to see all of these clothes, and then you got to see all of these instruments and stuff. One of my favorite exhibits when I was there was when I saw the little one pickup guitar and tiny amp that Richie Valens had, which was amazing, all in of its own, So, and so you see things like that, okay? Just like why isn't there an American Indian an exhibit for the American Indians? There were so many of them that made such great music. Where's the one for the Hispanic artist? That so Richie Valens was only around for 8 months, but in those 8 months, I mean, he pretty much put Chicano / Hispanic rock on the map, and then of course laid out to Chan Romero, Chris Montez, and so many other in his wake. I mean, I could go on now, Jose Feliciano, and such.
So the 2019 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees are come and gone, and and we're talking about singular and groups, so. Hopefully.
Well, and you know what?
I was going to make a joke. I don't know if I should or not.
No, go ahead. Shoot.
I'm sorry. I just where my brain goes at this particular moment. No,
go ahead. No, please.
Okay, all right. You goaded me. And now the joke's not going to be as funny.
I know.
I just hope in 5 years they induct the drummer's missing arm from Def Leppard.
There we go.
That's it. I'm out. Good night, folks.
So Les Paul was inducted in '88.
Okay. And with that, we come back down to the orbit. But if they're going to display his arm, they got to display his automated drum kit too.
No, it has to have the drumstick in it, in the hand.
Yeah.
Just on the wall. You found, here's John Lennon's broken glasses from when he fell, when he was shot, and here's the pieces of the guy's plane. Oh, yeah, and here's the drummer's left arm.
He's
right arm or whatever.
I'm not as familiar with, I'll be honest, I'm not as familiar with Roxy Music. I'm not as familiar with the Zombies.
Well, I'm familiar with the Zombies, and the Zombies are deserving. In fact, 2 of the Zombies are still out there playing as we speak. As far as Roxy Music, Love Is a Drug was one of their big hits, and Brian Ferry front and center, and they were the protagonists of that whole synth dance rock movement that was happening in the 70s, and kind of a crossbreed between, kind of disco music and kind of synthy progressive modern music, so Roxy Music, I'm familiar with. In fact, Love Is a Drug, if you go on YouTube and play it. You'll understand what I'm talking about. For those of you out there who want to get a taste of Roxy music, find Love is the Drug on YouTube.
Okay,
as far as the Zombies, Time of the Season was their big one in 1968 on Date Records.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know.
Just don't go to Facebook and then go to YouTube and play it. Otherwise,
don't do that.
No, don't do that because you won't hear it.
I know. I mean, I'll be honest. I probably know their music, but I have friends who are like, "Oh my God, it's all about time." So, Def Leppard, I guess.
Well, no, Def Leppard. I mean, they had Hysteria, and they had Pour Some Sugar on Me. They had Let's Get Rocked. I mean, they had a fairly consistent line of hit records, and we're talking the 1980s, so 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, Randy Daytona.
Yeah, I guess. I just always kind of.
I mean, why isn't Beck in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I'm not talking about Jeff Beck. I'm just talking about Beck. You know, Loser Baby Beck.
Well, here. This is interesting. Here were the 15 nominees. Here's where they pared it down to the 15 nominees. Okay. So, and I'll tell. Obviously, we know which ones got in. So Def Leppard, which got in, Devo. I don't even know why Devo's on this list.
Well, okay, you have to give it to Devo.
With it, I don't even know why you would have them.
Well, there's okay. One, they had 8 consistent albums of that type of music that everybody was into. I mean, you also have to keep in mind that it's not just all about radio play, but it was also about what was happening in the clubs, what was happening in the discotheques, what was happening, you know, in that whole thing. And of course, a lot of their music got mixed into other music as well. So, no, I mean, I could see Devo. I mean, Talking Heads. There's a band that did a lot of great music. I mean, are they there? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up, Ivan. But,
let me let you get back to your list, though. What was the rest of it?
So Devo, Janet Jackson, who's in? John Prine?
John Prine?
Yeah, it does not ring a bell for me. Probably somebody you know.
Okay, he was a humor type of artist. He was more of a songwriter than an entertainer. I mean, a lot of his songs have gotten recorded that John Prine wrote, but John Prine also released a number of albums which are very obscure now, but if you find them, they're great. Okay. And they're actually very funny and very topical. So, okay, go ahead.
Let's see, Kraftwerk,
okay. That's Tour de France, another much in the likes of Roxy Music, but a little bit more progressive, more along the lines of... Yeah. There's Tour de France. It's a famous piece of music if you listen to it, and then also too, Kraftwerk were along the lines of like say your Gary Newmans, your Ultravox, XTC, all that kind of synthy, multi-layered type of thing. Gary Newman, that type of music.
Okay. Child molesting, right?
Well, no, not child molesting, but anyway, go ahead. What's the next?
So here's a name that honestly I'd put over Def Leppard.
What's that?
LL Cool J.
LL Cool J? I would give LL Cool J props. I mean, LL Cool J
did not get in, and LL Cool J, in fairness, when we talk about consistency and you talk about longevity of rap career.
Yeah, LL Cool J, he's a master.
Cool
J?
One of the pioneers.
Yeah. He's one of the pioneers.
His music.
He's still playing. He's still going. He's producing.
Right. He's still putting out music. He's still putting out music in the 2000s that was relevant. And the only reason he's now is he's making all that TV money. True. I mean, ladies love Cool J. LL Cool J. He's like one of the originals, and he's put out some of the biggest anthems out there.
Thank you. Yes, agreed. I mean, okay, because then right away you're going back to some of the master guys, Run DMC, Heavy D and the Boys, Slick Rick, Puff,
Puff I don't think is in. I don't think Puff Daddy's in.
How about, Kumo D, Easy E.
Oh yeah, NWA is in. I don't think he's in, but I think NWA is in.
Okay.
But,
Wu-Tang.
Yeah, I don't know about Wu-Tang. So yeah, the next one is MC5. I don't know that person, but
MC5 is along the lines of progressive bands like Mark Bolan, and kind of a cross between almost psychedelic and harder rocking music.
So it's kind of prog?
Yeah, it's kind of prog, yeah.
Okay. Obviously, we mentioned Radiohead. Radiohead's in.
Yeah.
The next...
Okay, Radiohead right up there with...
Although it's interesting because here's a band that didn't get in, but Radiohead did, which was Rage Against the Machine.
Which Rage Against the Machine should have got in.
Yeah, I would put them over Radiohead.
I mean, that's just like saying, like KDFDM were on that list. I think KDFDM should have been along the lines with...
Yeah, they're not on this list. But,
yes.
So Roxy Music obviously got in. Now, here's interesting. Rufus featuring Shaka Khan.
Yes, that's valid because Rufus and Shaka Khan have a long history of making music. I mean, Rufus actually was spun off from the group the American Breed. And then, the American Breed had a bunch of hits in the 60s and early 70s. And then members of that group evolved into Rufus. And then when Chaka Khan joined, then it became Rufus and Chaka Khan. Tell Me Something Good, Sweet Thing, Hollywood. And then right up to, let me see. I Feel For You in the 80s alongside all of those great dance records with Prince and Michael Jackson and all of that. And, Tina Marie.
The next three we talked about, they were all in, which is Stevie Nicks, Secure, and the Zombies. The last nominee was Todd Rundgren.
Todd Rundgren, yes. Multi-album, single artist, started in the late 1960s. He was in a band called Runt, and he started on the label that the Monkees ended up, out of the Flight of the Phoenix. There, he got on Street Gems, and he was in a band called Nas back in the late 1960s. And then he went from there to Bearsville, and then, of course, his big hit in the 70s was Hello, It's Me. He made a bunch of groundbreaking albums, and then after a while, he actually kind of left the whole music scene, and because of its commercialism and such after a while. But he made some... It goes back to what I said earlier. Now, you got an artist here that made some marks in the music world, and then, just was pretty much... set to the corner after a while. So Todd Rundgren, he deserves to be in.
Okay. Well, like I said, I just wanted to give you who the last 15 who the finalists were. Yeah, like I said, for me, my reaction is kind of along the lines of, I'm just kind of sitting there. Look, the one to me that I can sit there, if you're going to put in Radiohead, I think I'd have taken Rage Against the Machine before Radiohead, but that's just me.
Now,
no, but I agree with you though.
Right.
On that.
Now, out of these 15 finalists, how were the final ones determined? Was it by vote?
Vote.
What was that? So once these finalists were announced, how did people vote?
I'd have to go look.
We'll have to look at it. Okay, so it was fan vote. All right.
I don't know if it was fan vote or if it was.
Vote. I think it's committee voted. I think it runs the same way as the.
Maybe the fans vote on the finalists, and then the committee determines out of these finalists who goes in.
I would assume there's a little bit of both because I don't think there would be enough fans for some of the names that did get put in. Like, I don't know that the Zombies and Roxy Music would have enough people.
True.
Where people would go, oh yeah, we should totally put them in.
But there are people like Ivan but unfortunately, they're in the minority these days, that there are people who truly appreciate the roots of some of these artists and how they've influenced the bands of today.
Well, that's why it's funny when Ivan was saying they're talking about The Cure. My first reaction is, no, if there was any band that you're talking about where the roots of alternative music that you hear today has come from, The Cure would be a great representative.
Well, yeah, and again, agreeing with you on that point, Jeff. I mean, just like I think Morrissey deserves props to that. I think, let's see, Talking Heads. I would think, there's just so many of them.
Yeah.
The Depeche Mode, the Pogues. Let's see, the Rubinoos. So you're like, dang, Ivan, where'd all this come from? Right?
No, it's like I said, I just thought I'd bring it up because, like I said, to me, yes, Janet Jackson is Janet Jackson.
Yeah, Janet Jackson is Janet Jackson. I mean, and she's still relevant in the music world today. I mean, and if I had to, all right, here's my question to you, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you 3 girls, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Janet Jackson, Beyonce, and Jennifer Lopez. If you felt that any one of those 3 belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, what do you think should be?
Well, I'm biased, but I'd say Janet.
Okay.
I'd say Janet because, quite frankly, Janet is a huge influence to both of them, really. I mean, without Janet, that doesn't happen. And the truth is, a name that will never probably make the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but is probably as big an influence on both of them is Paul Abdul.
Well, yeah, and okay, here we go again. It just goes back to those type of people that, didn't have a huge output, but made an impression that, was to lay the groundwork for a whole lot of women to come through,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there you go.
Let's see. Do we want to talk about do we want to bring out the dead of 2018 or?
Well, we can bring it.
I don't think I have the definitive list here.
I've got a few in front of me. Like it's funny because there's names I had totally forgotten too.
Yeah, I know. I remember like 2017 we lost a lot of.
We lost a lot of people in
2017.
Yeah, at the last minute too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling up.
So the people we have lost in 2018. Well, first on my list would probably have to be Stan.
Yeah.
Maybe because that's just freshest in my mind.
Right. Aretha Franklin.
Yep.
Aretha Franklin. Well, no, I've pulled up I got stuff here I'm looking at.
Nancy Wilson. We just
right.
Nancy
Wilson. Steven Hilbert, who's the creator of SpongeBob.
Yes, I just watched the SpongeBob Christmas special over the weekend, and Steven was the voice of Potty, the parrot.
George H.W. Bush, I don't know if we want to go there.
Yeah.
Roy Clark.
Yes, guitar player extraordinaire and singer in the country world. Hee-haw, plus a number of other different things. He also had music books written and courses and such. I mean, he did so much between him and Buck Owens for the Bakersfield sound in California.
Yeah, my ex-boss, when I used to work for Sporting News Radio, Paul Allen, who is the co-founder of Microsoft, who owns the Seattle Seahawks and the Portland Trail Blazers. At one point, I did work for Vulcan Media, so kind of amusing that way. Mac Miller, who was the rapper, who was really young. I mean, we're talking 26. Burt Reynolds.
Bandit.
Yep, the Bandit. Neil Simon. I didn't realize Neil Simon was gone. John McCain. Senator John McCain. Robin Leach. I had forgotten that Robin Leach had gone. Ed King. Aretha Franklin, as you mentioned. Charlotte Rae. Facts of Life.
Facts of Life, yep.
The real Adrian Cronauer of Good Morning Vietnam, the original guy.
The movie was based on.
Yeah. I'm looking just to see Joe Jackson, the Jackson family. Vinnie Paul, of Pantera. Just trying to see who else. I'm just trying to throw in quick. Eunice Gayson, I don't know who that is. Andrew Bourdain, I forgot. Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, that show we had, yeah.
That was a great show.
Dwight Clark of San Francisco, the Catch Hall of Fame recognition from back in the day from the Niners. Philip Roth, Tom Wolfe, Margot Kidder. Forgot about Margot Kidder.
Yes.
That
was one of the highlights of the year, was seeing the 40th anniversary of the Superman movie on the big screen again.
Vern Troyer, Mini-Me. Barbara Bush. Harry Anderson, sure, forgot about that.
Yeah, Night Court.
Yeah. Night Court. Great show.
Stephen Bochco, who did Hill Street Blues, NYPD Blue, those shows.
He shaped 80s television.
Yep, he kind of did. Stephen Hawking.
Yep. I saw his movie.
How was that?
The movie was more of a love story, but
Billy Graham.
Yeah, the Christian Crusader. Yep.
Oh, John Mahoney, the guy who's in the guy who played Martin Craig for Frasier and has been a long-time character actor.
Yep.
Dennis Edwards, the former lead singer of the Temptations.
Yes. Dennis Edwards, who started out as one of the members of the Spinners, and then when the Temptations were going through their transition into the 70s and early 80s, and then Dennis took the lead voice and cut a lot of great songs and continued to keep the Temptations relevant in the world of soul and rhythm and blues music.
Whoa, Keith Jackson, pretty much the voice of college football for pretty much most of my life. Jerry Van Dyke.
Yep, and of course, Jerry Van Dyke, poor man, the poor guy, as talented as he was, and just in the shadow of Dick Van Dyke, and then just the fact that having to work with stinkers like My Mother's a Car.
Well, he kind of revived himself. He had that long run on Coach as Luther Van Dam, and he was
which that was his saving grace, was that show.
Yeah, that's funny. They've talked about revisiting that show.
Revamping it again?
Yeah, about bringing that back. But those are the ones off the top. I mean, I'm sure there's some I missed, but I feel like that scene in Monty Python, "Bring out your dead."
But here's the thing, though. Just off the hip here. Do you feel that Hollywood is just dried up as far as like new ideas? I mean, I see so much stuff being rebooted and revamped and redone, and it seems like I mean, when you look at television sitcoms, it seems like they've been rehashing the same scripts forever and ever and ever. And it seems like now, everybody's like rebooting and revamping, and I mean, have we become has the well of creativity gone dry?
No.
I don't think so.
Still plenty of good ideas, but unfortunately, those good ideas get misappropriated, or they just get overlooked. And sometimes you'll get new ideas, and that becomes the new Mortal Engine movie. No one says, "Oh, it's too different. I don't want to see it." But then there's other ones that are new ideas that are implemented correctly. So
okay,
it's relative, but yeah, there's room in there for new content.
Right.
A subject we've discussed many times here.
Right. But I just feel that I just feel there should be more.
Right. We're in this kind of show, we talk about sequels and shows, movies, TV shows based on stuff that we've known all our lives that's getting big screen treatment. Oh yeah, there's still a lot of room for new and originals.
Well, the other thing is, too, keep in mind, and again, we've talked about this before, for every one where we talk about something like that, as we've talked about before, with the expansion of TV into online areas such as Hulu and Amazon Prime and
Netflix
and the HBOs of the world, and now Warner's going to do a distribution service, and like Mike said, there's that Titan show that's on the universe, and then Disney's going to have Disney Plus now. There's a lot of unique content out there, Ivan. The thing is that do you have the means to get to all of it? In some regards, it's like, it'd be a great time to be a TV critic because, your bosses will pay for all of it. But for the rest of us, there are people who have gotten rid of cable and buy everything a la carte. For me personally, I can't do it as much because one, my condo association already pays for it, so I might as well. And two, I like sports. So until they figure out how I can get that without worrying about it, sports is still a cable thing. So, and there's still stuff on cable that I enjoy that is uniquely cable. But that's just me. To your point though, Ivan, it's funny because, yeah, it's possible that some of these things are being revisited and it's not. The thing is, so far with some of these reboots, some of them have worked and some of them haven't. And at first, when it first started, I think it was really like the Full House reboot that started kind of this on Netflix, and it was good. And they only did a couple of seasons. And then Roseanne actually was pretty good, as much as Roseanne was being Roseanne.
Well, they picked up the Connors for another season.
Right, and in fairness, I've been watching the Connors. It's a solid show. Unfortunately, you certainly are missing, the big star quality of somebody like Roseanne. There's no question of that, but it's a good show.
It's holding its own.
Murphy Brown, it'll be interesting to see if it gets picked up for a second season or not. It gets too preachy at points, but that's too bad because I think there's potential there. I haven't heard anything about the Magnum PI thing, but this is not if you think about it, this has been going on for a while. Hawaii Five-0 came out how long ago? MacGyver got redone. This is not just an immediate.
I know this is not a new thing, and I know that. It's just, I don't know, I guess maybe having watched as much television as I have throughout the course of my life, I just figure, I guess I'm just hungry for more, maybe.
Yeah, speaking of reboots, I just saw an article posted just a couple days ago that now the Battlestar Galactica series, the new series, debuted 15 years ago.
Oof.
I'm like,
wow.
I remember the knee-jerk reaction was just to not. But then a few episodes in where the word on the street got out saying, hey, it's good. Mm-hmm. So I watched it. I'm like, hey, this is good. And so I followed it through.
Right. Well, again, like I said, I just don't, there's new content out there that's unique. It's just, at the same time, there is some rebooting. Honestly, Ivan, I would kill for a WKRP reboot.
I would too.
I think there's a place for another shot at putting that show back on the air.
And the fact that it was written by people who were in radio who understood that whole universe that is radio, would excite me greatly because I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the show in its original inception. When they reconstituted it in later episodes, it was good. It wasn't great, but it was still good.
Yeah.
And then I could go through a reboot of WKRP in Cincinnati. I could do that.
I think there's play. Again, it depends.
Didn't we get that in news radio?
Yeah,
didn't we kind of get that?
No, they didn't. News radio being what that was, but I think that there was a lot more edgier type of
that
element
had the
in
dynamic
radio.
Of an office comedy, not much as a radio show.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It was more like The Office, but in a radio station. So.
In answer to your question, Ivan, yes.
Yeah, I think there's a place for both.
But thanks for appeasing my sense of wonder about the whole thing. It's just I guess we'll never know for sure until the
Well,
next really cool thing comes through.
keep in mind this too, Ivan. Like, for example, okay, there's money in some of these brands too. Okay?
Yeah, there are.
I mean,
Right.
like, for example, the Charmed reruns have been running forever on
Yes.
on TNT and on other places all over the place, and they're still very, very popular. So, yeah, if it's still really, really popular and it's been a while, why not consider rebooting?
Okay.
Or,
And
for example, look at how popular Buffy has been, and it's like, yeah, it's been long enough. We can reboot that series and see if we can make it work again. I think that's part of it too. Is you've got some of these, you created some franchises, and there's the possibility of, yeah, there's interest. It just depends on how well
the appeal is still there, and if done right, then it'll relive, it'll respark.
Right. And honestly, I saw the first episode of the new Charmed. I was not thrilled, but it's already been picked up for the entire season.
Yeah.
So apparently, maybe I'm not the audience for it, but somebody's watching it. Obviously,
Somebody's watching.
Yeah.
And it seems like also too the movement of this generation, who tends to look back on our generation, and they're just like, wow, I mean, I saw something on Facebook, and I think it expressed it. I think it expressed it a little bit. It's like, yeah, I might be old, but all the bands I saw were cool.
I'll fight you a little on
There's
that.
still good music out there.
There's still good music.
There's still a lot of good music out there. I'm not saying that all old music is great music. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that the new generation is discovering the things that we've all enjoyed along the way, and to them it's new, and to them it's fresh, and to them it's like, wow, that's like really freaking cool. And as long as commercials and movies are going to include that element in it, be it the fashion sense, be it the musical sense, be it the whatever it is that brings that whole thing together, it's still being perpetuated.
Well, I think the other thing is too, is you're at a point now where it's usually about a 20-year gap where we get, this is now cool. So you've got kids who are interested in what we saw in the 90s, and really you've got people like me who are Gen Xers from the 90s who are like, yeah, I liked all these things. So I think it's a combination of that. So, you've got people who are my age who are sitting there going, yeah, I'd like to see that again if they do it right. Sure, why not? I liked it back then. This would be interesting. I'm in. Sure, as long as it's good.
Yeah, I mean, just like,
if it's not,
there's not.
That's not.
I got you. Just like I remember a time. Well, I mean, like for example, the Monkees. There's my childhood. It's the Monkees. And Batman. There's my childhood. The Batman. And here it is. I find myself all these years later, and it's still just as relevant, if not more relevant than it's ever been. And the fact that and there was a new Monkees. They were attempting to make a new Monkees series, and they kind of fell out, I think, after like a few weeks. And so not everything translates, but I'm sure for the most of it, like Buffy, like a lot of it. But yeah, I would love to see a WKRP series.
Yeah. Now that the animated Voltron series on Netflix is concluded, it's a project I need to finally get caught up on that. I'm about 3 or 4 seasons behind, although the seasons are only like 6 or 8 episodes, but I want to finish the series now because it's done. So I want to. That's one thing that they did right as far as like taking that nostalgia from the past and reinventing it for the modern age.
Right.
And reinventing it right.
Yeah.
To your point, Mike, here's a perfect example. Also on Netflix, Netflix went out and took Glow, Gorgeously as a Wrestling from the 80s, which was just kind of a wrestling show, and they turned it into a half-hour drama show, They've already gotten 2 seasons of it, and now apparently they're going to be doing a comic book of the Netflix show, and it's a really popular show. And they, they don't do as much on the wrestling. They focus more on the story and more on a lot of the backstage stuff from in the 80s about trying to put on a women's wrestling show.
Yeah, I saw the article for that. That's comics coming in March.
Right, yeah. And in fairness, good for them. I mean, especially if it helps out the originals and maybe they can get bookings off of that too, but I don't know. I'll try to keep this fast. Let's see, shall we? At that time?
Just about. Anything else we want to bring up for In Memoriam or 2018? We'll have our final thoughts for the year, I think, at the end. But I guess if we want to go into that time, we'll go into that certain special time, and special in quotation marks, of all the crazy news.
Yeah. So let's see. Drivers in Houston had to think fast to get out of the way of a giant spool that fell from the truck and went rolling through traffic.
Was a spool of wire, or was just a wooden spool or something? Like
no, a big giant spool of wire. When you're talking to a group of students, you don't expect a Ferris wheel to come at you. It fell off the back of an 18-wheeler.
Yeah. Thank goodness nobody got hurt.
Apparently this happened on November 12th. But, yes, giant spool comes flying up.
Someone got video of it on the bus. Yeah, it was just driving past this rolling giant spool on the highway.
Yeah. We apparently are now able to buy the Marvel Thor Major meat tenderizer if ye be worthy.
Oh, that's the Thor. Yes, the Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Meow meow, as the lady from the two broke girls.
That's how you.
Meow meow.
I'd
buy it. I'd buy the Mjolnir.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
I'm waiting for the Stormbreaker for tenderizing a slab of meat, a la Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, that works.
There you go.
An Irish woman who married a ghost of a 300-year-old pirate says they've split up.
Aww. So sad to see a happy couple break up.
He got spirited away.
Amanda Teague married a Haitian pirate named Jack earlier this year. The wedding to her soulmate took place aboard a boat in international waters off the Irish coast. However, the Irish Mirror reports the couple have called it a day after less than a year. Amanda said, "So I feel it's time to let everyone know that my marriage is over. I will explain in all due course, but for now, I just want to say, be very careful. When dabbling in spirituality, it's not something to mess with." Oh, crap, really?
You're never here for me. Of course I'm not. I'm a ghost, damn it.
The split was another blow for Jack.
I can see through you.
The split was another blow for Jack after he purportedly was executed for thieving in the high seas in the 1970s.
In the 1770s, right?
1770s, yeah. Well,
wow.
Same idea.
Well,
he was a hippie pirate.
There's a 30-year-old ghost and a 300-year-old ghost.
Yeah.
Those 300-year-olders, man, you gotta... they're usually quite committed to their marriages.
Yes, well...
It's very sad.
You're there for the benefits. Senior citizen arrested after a large amount of cocaine found stashed on a cruise ship. 2 British senior citizens were removed from a Caribbean cruise and arrested after a large amount of cocaine was discovered in their cabin. A 70 and 72-year-old suspects are being held by police in Portugal.
That's why they call it the high seas.
According to the pair were arrested on suspicion of trafficking narcotics and they remain in custody. The cabin that was occupied with suspects, 4 suitcases were found in whose structures concealed a high amount of products, more specifically cocaine. Yeah, okay. Well, hey, what are you gonna do? Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. This one I found amusing. A California election solved with a Dungeons and Dragons dice.
Okay.
Here's the tagline. Candidates roll, save versus tied result. In California, 2 candidates for the year. Irrigation District Board of Commissioners ended up tied in November's election and to make a saving throw last week. They had to roll with the D20 to determine the contest for their seat on the Byron Bethany Irrigation District Board. Try saying that 3 times fast. The die, in fact, was taken from somebody's D20 set. Apparently, California law says ties must be resolved by drawing lots, but doesn't matter what method is used. That means that they could have gone with a coin flip, drawing high cards, or a game of Rochambeau, but a good old D20 rolled 3 times, provided the best chance that drawing would not in the end, and a well draw again. Enos threw a 20 on his last roll, and a dice off live streamed.
You rolled a nat 20.
Wow.
It was live streamed?
Live streamed the roll of the D20.
Oh my god. I missed the live streaming.
I hope they weren't playing any music.
Oh my god.
Could have muted the volume during the saving throw.
Yeah, well. Yeah, you don't need to save for Dragon, you just need to save for your public office.
That's right.
A frequent sex associated with greater life enjoyment for men but not women, according to a study. I think there are some women who would differ on this thought process.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of women who would disagree with this one. A frequent sexual activity leads to greater enjoyment of life of men but not women. For women, frequent kissing, petting, fondling, and feeling emotionally close to their partner was associated with higher enjoyment in life. A study of almost 7,000 people in the ages of 50 to 89 in England. 89. Wow, you go.
Wow.
This was correlated self-reported sexual activity in the past year. Well, now if it's
89, yeah. Maybe they're looking into marrying some ghosts.
Well, they're rolling their own D20.
Yeah, right.
Man, the spirit moves you.
Well, something got moved. Frequent sexual activity was defined by the study's authors as having sex more than twice per month. Twice a month at 89? You go.
All right. Yeah.
This data was obtained for the English Longitudinal Study of Aging, an ongoing long-term study of English population above 50. But, I don't know that this goes on for a while. I don't think we need to go any further. We've had fun.
Yeah, it's just proof that guys just need one thing to be happy.
Yeah, and it's not spooning or cuddling. We'll do that.
That's right.
Toys.
Here's one. This will be amusing. A parrot used Amazon Alexa to order items while his owner was away. apparently.
Let me guess. A shit ton of crackers.
Strawberries, watermelons, raisin, broccoli, and ice cream. He also ordered a kite, light bulbs, and even a kettle.
How do you order watermelons on Amazon? Amazon will bring you watermelons?
Yeah, because
it's out there, folks.
Right, because they own Whole Foods now, or Whole Paycheck.
Whole Foods, yeah, they do.
They own Whole Paycheck now, so yeah, it's that makes sense. Rocco likes to dance to and tells the voice-activated device to play favorite tunes. Sometimes there's slow numbers, but he generally prefers rock.
Okay.
Fucking that on your bill.
Polly wants free shipping. Rock.
Yeah, Polly wants free shipping, yeah. Alright, let's see. We already talked about the fact that Peter Porker might get a show. Here's one. Alfonso Roberto, aka Carlton, is suing the Fortnite creators for stealing his Carlton dance.
Maybe Fortnite is the thing.
Oh, he's suing Fortnite and NBA 2K for stealing the Carlton dance. As the latest celeb who got a beef with Fortnite's pop culture influenced dances, and is now suing the creators of the game for jacking his own. He filed a suit against Epic Games, which has developed the crazy popular multiplayer game, claiming that the company completely ripped off his famous dance from his character Carlton Banks. That's amusing.
All right. That's gonna fall under the heading of you can't copyright an arrangement.
Okay. Here's fun. The number one calendar with Japanese women right now is apparently one with a shirtless Vladimir Putin. I don't understand. Apparently making a whole bunch of Japanese women really, really hot. The calendar shows dipping into a freezing lake in January, playing ice hockey in February, and frolicking in the snow with dogs in December, according to the Independent.
Boy. That sake's got the real kick to it.
They claim it might be based on a practical joke. Yeah.
Okay.
These get harder to find.
Vladimir Putin 2019 calendars.
There you go.
Here, Bill.
A pair of Russian underwear.
Here, this one should work. The last couple weeks have been harder to find stuff. Missouri poacher ordered to repeatedly watch Bambi.
What?
A Missouri poacher has been ordered to repeatedly watch the movie Bambi as part of his sentence in a scheme to illegally kill hundreds of deer.
Right. If that don't give you the feels, then you deserve to go to jail, son.
Barry Jr. was ordered to watch the Disney classic at least once a month during his year-long jail sentence. In Wisconsin,
oh my gosh.
One of the largest deer poaching cases in state history.
That might make him full vegan.
The bagel stops there. He must have his first viewing by December 23rd, so by the time this comes out, he will. He was also sentenced to 120 days in jail near for firearms probation. But apparently, this is. Apparently,
this is a real thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. And finally, because we've talked about this on numerous occasions, we need to bring this to the other side of the planet.
Here we go.
Apparently, it is not only men who can get the sex robot.
There are women bots? There are men bots now?
Apparently so.
Well, we've had, the blow-up dolls for both guys and girls for the longest time. Now they're getting the robot.
Now they're getting the robot.
Now If you're not happy with the ghost you married, hey.
Get a robot.
Get a guy dude.
Let's see. Now comes Henry, a sex bot with a tireless, 11-inch silicone penis.
Shit.
Yeah. Let's see.
Why don't you look at me when I'm
according to this, it's from a company called Real Botox.
Oh, God.
The female version went on sale earlier this year, which was Harmony. Apparently, this doll will talk to you or something. Hold on. I heard about one that supposedly will speak.
It's like a creepy gigolo, like the Jude Law and the makeup, like in the movie AI.
Ha 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 ha! I'm coming. Would you like a cream pie? Ha ha ha!
Ivan,
what?
We're so happy to have you back.
Here we go. I found the site. Let's see the site. Gallery.
Would you like me to be your best friend?
In Russia, there was a robot that was just turned out to be a dude in a costume.
Really, that's
It reminds me of the South Park episode.
Yeah, it was like the South Park episode, just like Osmo 4000. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, yeah. Why is it that I can't find? They show all the women ones on their site. How come they're not showing the guys? Not that I really want to see the guys, but
but you are intrigued. For it. Well, you are intrigued. You want to see the 11-inch phallus.
Yeah, he's looking for the...
I'm looking.
Goddamn thing is big.
Yeah. You think? I swear there was one I heard something about on the radio about one that supposedly sings. That it'll sing.
Whistling Dixie.
I don't get it. There's a picture of the robot. Okay, yeah, I have the article about it was on state TV in Russia. A Russian robot named Boris, hailed as a high-tech on state TV, has been unmasked as a man in a suit. And there's a still of the picture of the robot from the back showing like from the over the left shoulder, and you can see the neck of the dude in the suit.
Oh, man.
I am totally robot, not human at all.
Does not have feelings. I do not feel. Right. I am D16. I am here to love you.
D16 robot. So yeah, Adam Sandler movie ideas for these sex robots. Sure, all right.
Apparently,
the battle of the sex robots. porno modernization.
Yeah, apparently this thing has sensors and stuff. And
sensors.
I would be nervous that if, like, God forbid, it had a short.
So what happened before it starts to get to where it needs to go? The head blows off or something?
I don't think so. That's an expensive. That's kind of expensive for that. But.
I'd be damned if the other head doesn't explode.
Now, in the myriad of sex robot stories that Jeff has covered over the course of this show, now, some have been damaged while being used.
Yes, they have.
So, it only comes to say that not only do you have to have that, I don't know, like...
Here, this is the one. Here it is. Henry is the world's first sex robot for women. He can recite your favorite Palmer song lyric. This is what I was looking for. Oh, this guy's creepy looking.
Robert Palmer lyric?
No, your favorite song or...
Home lyric.
Oh, I thought you said Robert Palmer lyric. I was going to I didn't mean to turn you on. Yeah. Ha, ha, I didn't mean to turn you on.
He's about $10,000, by the way.
Shit, you can keep it.
Well,
somebody's going to keep it.
They're going to have other dolls named Michael, Mick, and Nate.
Hey, they did what after you, Mike.
Yeah.
Wait, here, hold on. And buyers can also select penis type, which can be detachable. Interesting.
Oh boy! In other words, you get 4 different sizes: small, medium, large. And, oh my God!
I'll blow my brains out. Something like that.
I'm coming.
Against coming out of this, then women give him the thumbs up. The thumbs up.
Thumb up something.
He's well equipped. He's well equipped with an AI sense, as he can recite poetry or lyrics of your favorite song, as well as tell jokes. This is why women... See, this is what I'm talking about. Guys...
I can tell jokes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part I don't get.
I need a sex robot that'll tell me a joke before I climb on top of it.
Exactly. You sit there trying to make me laugh.
Yeah.
When you go out with your sex robot, he makes me laugh.
Yeah. 2 Jews walk into a bar. Let's go for it. I just...
Then they'll have ones with different voices and different type of accents and stuff.
They will. You know they
will. Oh no, not there. There.
Do you have a voice chip in Gilbert Gottfried?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That would be bad. That would be so wrong. Well, it's only a matter of time until you have the AI. Not now.
I'm so upset. I'm molting.
All right, so that's all I got. Yeah. we'll find different stuff in 2019. That's more interesting. 2018 is gone out in kind of a whimper, but
well, I don't know about that. I think we got to do a lot of really cool stuff. We got the show started in 2018.
Yeah, that's true. No, I meant from the wacky news things.
No, the wacky news stuff is okay too. I mean, you're not gonna bust a nut every time, but
yeah, not great.
Well, you're not gonna bust a nut every time, but I mean, hey.
Wait, why are we talking busted nut? All right, any final thoughts before we wrap up the year? Any final thoughts on the year, gentlemen?
Okay, Mike, you go first.
I had a good year. Saw a lot of good movies. Had a great birthday. Went to the Kane County show with a couple of friends of mine. Went to DairyCon in Fond du Lac. We'll be there again next year. Saw Weird Al in concert the following week. That was great. So went to saw a friend with Ivan, and we hadn't seen him in 11 years. So that was a
really
great trip.
cool.
Had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
The Fathom Events screening of Transformers the movie on the big screen was awesome. Had a great time at TFCon. And, of course, we started this little thing we got here going on. And there's no signs of us stopping.
No.
So,
Not at all.
So I gotta say, it's been a great year, and I appreciate the company of our listeners, and, of course, the company of you, Jeff, and you, Ivan, as well.
All right. Coolness.
So make it a rockin' new year.
All right, Jeff, you're next.
This year's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I feel like I'll stick to the positives on things, which is that it was a good year in perspective of got to do there was a lot of great movies, there was a lot of great TV. I got to meet a lot of interesting people and do a lot of cool different things this year, from escape rooms to Toastmaster conventions to coaching a World Championship finalist to doing some presentations that were out there for those to see, to the fact that I'm doing Facebook Lives almost every day now for people to check out on my page that you can see. It's been kind of a strong year in that regard, and I look forward to a 2019 that we're going to start off hot because there's a lot to do and a lot to talk about.
Okay, it was a good year for me too. It gave me an opportunity to be with two of the bestest friends I know, you, Mike, and you, Jeff, to be here to do this show. And then also it gave me the opportunity to do what I love after spinning records. Julie and I together for another year, and hope to keep going as we have the last 3.5 years. It's been wonderful. Our cat Marley, his doctor day was yesterday, so he's been with us a year now. I've been surrounded by lots of love, laughter, music, blessings, sweet events. And then I've had some loss that made me think about the mortality of what life and how precious it is and how it's important to do it every day because one never knows. But at the same time, as you go, make sure that you leave wonderful things in your wake, in your saddles. Because in the end, we're all going the same way, we're all going together. And we all want the same thing, so I want that and more in 2019. I want more conventions. I want more, I want more music and more love and more peace and more friendship and more togetherness for the family, friends, and loved ones. And I just want life. In our lives and in everybody else's life, to be the thing of great memory, to be the things of wonderful thought and the things of wonderful actions, for it to be a better tomorrow than it was today.
Well spoken.
Here. All right, so if people want to check us out, Mike, and they want to find us or they want to hear repeats of shows while we're off on vacation, where can they check us all out?
We are on YouTube. We appreciate you listening there. If you are listening, click subscribe, click the bell. You'll get notifications when new episodes appear instantaneously via the internet powers that are out there. We're on Facebook. That's where we're most active. At least that's where me and Jeff are. I know Ivan's on Instagram as well, but Instagram channel of the podcast is at SOTRT podcast. We're also on Twitter. And send us an email if you like. That's also an avenue of communication that we check frequently, just about every day.
Yes, it is.
sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. And we're also on PodBean, and we appreciate your listening in any fashion that you are. And a Happy New Year and a joyous holiday season to our listeners.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yeah, I said that right.
Oh, yeah, and a final note. I think I'll post to our Facebook page because this year being the 20th anniversary of Batman and Jimmy Save Christmas.
Ah!
Wow, that's right. And you know it's funny because I got those CDs sitting right here in front of me, which two lucky people are going to get on Wednesday at my set for when I do my Out of the Satchel at Logan Arcade on Wednesday from 9 to 2. Yeah, I got 2 copies.
Look at the 20th anniversary CD box set of Jimi Hendrix and Adam West Batman Save Christmas.
Yes. The radio play of all radio plays, written by Mr. Mike Edwin. And,
Mike Boyle, dude.
Mike
That's
Boyle.
my celebrity name. Don't use my celebrity name anymore.
Okay, Mike Boyle. All right.
Yeah, I know. It's not as elegant.
No, I wouldn't say that. Just, Mike Boyle. I just so used to calling you Mike Edwin all these years.
All those 6 years out of the 20-plus you've known me. Those were the most.
I hope to know you, and I hope to know you and Jeff 20 more.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Here's to the new year, and here's to another year of wonderful things. Thanks, guys. Thank you all out there for listening with us and to us, and we hope that you get everything you want and more. May all your desire become reality in this holiday season. And we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yep. See you on the other side. We'll see you in 2019. Thanks again for listening.
2019.